Welcome back to Panorama Anime. Today I will be continuing my recap of Black Clover, starting from the Battle of the Royal Capital arc. At the end of the last episode, the Black Bulls and the Golden Dawn traversed a dungeon to retrieve powerful magical items, but they were attacked by mages from the Diamond Kingdom. Asta and Yuno both obtained new magical tools, and the two squads worked together to defeat the enemy mages and escape the collapsing dungeon. Back at the base of the Black Bulls, Asta can't believe that he slept for a whole week after the fight against Mars and the Diamond Kingdom. The Black Bulls members tease Noelle for being worried about Asta when he was asleep, and she is embarrassed. Charmy summons her sheep cooks and they serve food to Asta and he eats his fill. The Black Bulls captain, Yami Sukahiro, kicks down the door to the kitchen after taking a dump and notices that Asta is alive and congratulates him on not dying. He tells them that Magic Knight headquarters is asking for a report on the events of their dungeon expedition. Luck thinks about all of the strong people he can fight at headquarters, but Yami reads his mind and says that Luck isn't allowed to go since he will probably want to fight everyone. Asta and Noelle head to the Clover Kingdom royal capital, and they meet up with Yuno, Klaus Lunetz, and Mimosa Vermilion. Asta met Mimosa and Klaus when they were exploring the dungeon on their last mission. Asta tries to thank Mimosa for healing him, but she runs away, and Yuno says it's because when he raised his arm, it was shorter than she expected. Noelle asks her what happened, to which she reveals that she has a crush on Asta. Noelle is flustered and desperately tries to talk her out of it, denying her own feelings for Asta, while Klaus asks why they're moaning. As they reach the entrance of headquarters, Julius, the current Wizard King, greets them. Asta asks who the flashy old guy is, and Klaus explains that it's the Wizard King. Asta and Yuno realize they are meeting the Wizard King for the first time. Julius asks Yuno to perform the magic that he did in the dungeon, but Yuno says he was only able to do it once and cannot do it again. The Wizard King realizes that Sylph, the great wind spirit, has chosen Yuno to wield her power in this era. Julius tells him that the magic will grow, and one day it will become a great power. Asta pulls out his new anti-magic sword to show the Wizard King. As Julius holds it, he realizes that it is absorbing his magic. Julius tells him that he is impressed Asta can hold such a heavy sword and that only Asta can use it because he does not have any magic. Asta and Yuno ask him about how to become the Wizard King. He suddenly gets serious and tells them they can only become the Wizard King through merit, and to continuously gain merit until they stand at the top. Julius invites them to a war merit ceremony where he awards new ranks and medals to various magic knights. Later, he invites them to a small reception but cannot attend since an important matter has come up. At the reception, the other magic knights begin to make fun of Asta, sensing that he has no magic and is a peasant, but he continues to happily eat and says he is used to it. The members of the Golden Dawn begin to tear into Yuno, Klaus and Mimosa, their own squad members, for their mishaps in the dungeon, and Noelle's siblings pour water on her and chastise her for being the failure of their family who killed their mother. Noelle gets up to leave, but Asta stops her. Asta jumps up on the table and yells at the magic knights for shaming them. A magic knight attacks him, but he slices through the attack and says he will continue to gain merit and make them shut up, saying he will become the Wizard King. Elsewhere, a man named Raid Spirito vows to get revenge on the Clover Kingdom for kicking him out. He is angry and wants to show them that they made a mistake by kicking him out and has decided to do anything it takes to get his revenge. Back at the reception, the Magic Knights can't believe Asta thinks he can become the Wizard King. Asta is attacked by Knowles' siblings, but Asta uses his new anti-magic sword to defend himself from his water attack. Suddenly, Alecdora from the Golden Dawn captures him with his sand magic, and Solid attempts to finish off Asta with a water bullet. As Yuno reaches for his grimoire to protect his friend, Asta summons his larger sword to cut through the sand bindings. He reflects Solid's water bullet back at him and makes him kneel. Solid can't believe it. Solid and Asta begin to face off against each other, but Nozel, the captain of the Silver Eagles, comes in between them and releases his enormous mana, intimidating Asta. Fuegolian, the captain of the Crimson Lions, stops Nozel from attacking Asta and claims that everyone should be ashamed of themselves for getting so worked up over a little boy, and his brother Leopold declares that Asta is his rival. Asta says that Yuno is his rival, but Leopold declares that he can never have enough rivals. Meanwhile, Mimosa tells Yuno that Fuegoleon and Leopold are her cousins, and she can't believe that Leopold has declared Asta as his rival. The group notices that the captains of the Magic Knights squads are having an intense conversation, and Fuegoleon says that Julius allowed Asta to be here, so they should give the kid some credit. Nozel dislikes this and tells him that his family has gone soft. The two captains prepare to fight each other and release their tremendous mana, but a messenger arrives and tells them that the capital is under attack. Raids is attacking the capital and he commands his zombies to destroy everyone that doesn't understand his worth. He wields magic that can create zombies and uses it to terrorize the citizens of the capital. Back at the reception, the Magic Knights are trying to devise a plan for the counterattack. There are enemies in 5 separate locations. Suddenly, Asta announces that he is going to where it is noisiest. Leopold decides to go after his new rival, Asta, while the rest of the knights divide themselves into separate teams and head toward the 5 different parts of the capital, with Fuegoleon and Noel teaming up to go look for Asta. As the Magic Knights arrive to stop the enemy forces, Raids has cornered a little girl in the North District. He rants about how he will destroy the Clover Kingdom, but before he is able to grab her, Asta slashes through his zombies and arrives to help. The little girl runs to Asta and he says to get behind him. Raids somehow knows about Asta and his anti-magic and summons more zombies to attack him. Meanwhile, in Central District, Nozel, Solid and Nebra jump in to stop the zombies. In the West District, Klaus is facing difficulties in killing the zombies. In the East District, Saul Maron and Charlotte Rosely, the captain of the Blue Rose Knights, are surrounded by zombies. And in the Northwest District, Yuno is trying to find the weaknesses of the zombies. Noel, Leopold and Fuegoleon are searching for Asta while facing the zombies. Fuegoleon and the other Magic Knights all have the same idea to defeat the enemy. They must crush the zombies until they can't get up. All of the Magic Knights use various attacks to kill zombies, and the people of the capital are amazed to see their powers. Back in the North District, Leopold hears Asta and rushes towards him. Asta is cutting down a herd of zombies with his sword. He asks Raids why he is attacking innocent people and says he will defeat Raids no matter what. Raids replies that anyone who does not understand his magic is a sinner. As Asta rushes towards him, Raids summons number 4, Jimmy. He declares that Jimmy is Asta's opponent. In the other districts, the Magic Knights are fighting the zombies, but their numbers keep on increasing and they are having a difficult time. Raids claims that attacks from Jimmy are loaded with curse power, and scratches won't stop bleeding. Asta realizes that his wound has opened up even more. Jimmy attacks Asta by using his curse power, and Asta blocks it with his sword. Raids orders Jimmy to target the little girl, but Asta manages to save her. Noelle arrives at the scene to help, but she remembers how her siblings made fun of her, which crashes her self-confidence, and she instead calls for help. Fuegoleon Karate chops her on the head and tells her to focus. He says it's totally fine to be weak, but staying weak is not. These words make Noelle realize that if Asta can become stronger, then she can prove her siblings wrong and become stronger too. Noelle arrives just in time and protects the little girl with her magic, which frees Asta to attack Raids. Leopold assists his rival by killing all of the zombies that are in Asta's way. Asta charges at Jimmy in a whirlwind and defeats the zombie. But Raids doesn't give up and summons another zombie, number 2, Alfred, who has a cloak of electricity. Yuno looks up at the sky and sees the electricity, and he senses that Asta is fighting whatever is over there. Meanwhile, Nozel's zombies are becoming weak and he begins to wonder what the enemy's objective is. The king of the Clover Kingdom, King Augustus Kira Clover III, asks about the whereabouts of Julius, the Wizard King. He believes that when there is an attack, the Wizard King's first priority should be protecting the king, but he has become full of himself. The Wizard King's advisor says the Magic Knights will protect the king no matter what happens. In another area of the castle, the head chef, Jamo, does not want to leave his cooking. He is sad that no Magic Knights will try his main dish. Suddenly, Charmy, the black bull who loves food, comes in and requests that she eat his food. The chef happily accepts her request, saying his cooking is more important than his life. Back in the city, Asta is trying to fight number 2, but he is not able to hit the zombie. Noelle asks the little girl to run, and the girl asks her to help Asta. Noelle tells her not to worry, he is her dear friend, and the little girl runs away. Leopold offers her help to defend Asta, but Raids summons another zombie to distract the both of them. Raids mocks Asta and says he is going to win by just watching his zombies do all the work. Asta, not knowing what to do, crosses his sword in front of him as Alfred is charging up for a powerful attack. Suddenly, a ray of fire hits Alfred, which immediately turns him into ash, which shocks Raids. Fuegoleon approaches Asta and places his hand over his shoulder. Asta is not happy because he was not able to defeat Alfred by himself. Fuegolion apologizes to Asta for interfering. He appreciates how well he fought against his enemy without magic. Fuegolion also says that he did not want Asta to die, and that's why he interfered. Fuegolion recalls Asta's words of wanting to become the Wizard King and declares Asta his rival. Asta is starstruck while Fuegolion decides to fight Raids. He tells Asta to leave the rest of the fighting to him. Asta still tries to fight, but Fuegolion hits Asta on the head and tells him that he's in no condition to continue fighting. Fuegolion knows that if Asta continues to fight, he might use all of his energy and end up dying. And if he wants to become the Wizard King, he needs to keep a cool head. Fuegolion asks Raids about his reason for these attacks. Raids replies that he was expelled from the Purple Orca squad because his magic was too dangerous, and he wants to revenge on them for being kicked out from the squad. Yet again, Raids summons another zombie, number 1 Carl. Fuegolion begins to attack but gets blocked by some kind of magical barrier. Fuegolion creates his own magical barrier and uses his solar beam to break through the magical barrier and kill Carl. Raids can't believe it, he's in shock, and the zombies around the capital begin to fall down. The people begin to cheer, but another mage is floating above the capital waiting to make her move. Raids is in shock, believing that he had the strongest magic of all but was still defeated. He is not able to accept his defeat. Raids looks at Noelle and Leopold as they defeat his last zombie. Fuegolion binds Raids and captures his grimoire. Fuegolion opens it and sees that he has only 1 page in it, which means that he can only perform 1 magic spell. Raids becomes afraid that from now on everyone will look down on him. Asta walks towards him and says to him that they are not going to look down on him, but using such powerful magic for an act of revenge is such a waste. Noelle offers her arm to the injured Asta to hold him up. Raids is wearing a magical device in his ear and a person starts talking to him. The voice says that Raids was not strong enough to defeat the captain by himself, and he is done acting alone. They will proceed as planned by their master. All around the capital, the people are cheering for Magic Knights, but Yuno suspects that something is suspicious. Yuno's grimoire begins to glow and sends him flying away from the ground, just as the ground turns black and swallows all the Magic Knights. They are transported a few hundred kilometers outside of the royal capital. Fuegolion, Asta, Noelle, and Leopold sense that the Magic Knight's mana has disappeared. Fuegolion asks Raids if there is another magic user nearby that has cast this spell. Above the capital, a witch named Catherine is disappointed that their trap worked so well, and she will not get to play with any of the Magic Knights, as all of them have been transported. She casts a spell to absorb the mana from the people in the capital. But Yuno interferes by casting his wind magic and calls her an old hag. Catherine is furious and says she will murder him. She casts curse magic at him and Yuno is able to dodge her spells. He asks her who she is and what she wants from here. She tells him that they are here to kill someone, but she does not reveal who that person is. Meanwhile, Fuegolion continues to ask questions to Raids about what they want from here. He says Raids doesn't have enough power to take over the royal capital, and it doesn't make sense for them to go after the king since he is useless. Raids then says that their target is none other than Fuegolion himself. Suddenly, the same spatial magic spell from before swallows Fuegolion, and he is transported to a white dimension. At the same time, Yuno is having trouble dodging Catherine's attacks. She mocks him and he is not able to see his body is shutting down. Despite his senses being dull, he is still able to sense mana and remembers that he was chosen by the 4-leaf Clover grimoire and that he will prove everyone wrong for doubting him just because he is a peasant. With his back against the wall, Yuno says he could care less about her mocking words. He only cares about not losing to his rival Asta. With his senses cut off, Yuno realizes that his wind spirit from the dungeon has been sending him mana signals all along, and he summons the great wind spirit Sylph for the first time. He uses her to gather the city's mana and casts a massive attack on Catherine. Back in the white dimension, Fuegolion is approached by a mysterious person and is shocked that he recognizes the mage. In the capital kitchens, Charmy is eating the food that Jamo made. Suddenly, Catherine bursts through the wall and approaches Charmy with the intent of stealing her yummy young mana. But Charmy thinks that she wants to steal her food, so she gets serious and transforms her appearance. Charmy summons a gigantic sheep that sucks all the magic out of Catherine. The sheep then punches Catherine and sends her flying out into the opening. Charmy says no one is allowed to touch her food, and the chefs celebrate. The authorities capture Catherine, and all the mana that she stole from the citizens is returned to their respective owners. Charmy's sheep disappears, and her food is about to fall out of the window. However, Yuno saves it from falling down. What falls instead is Charmy for Yuno, her meal-saving prince. Yuno is confused because he felt tremendous magical power, and he can't believe that Charmy stopped Catherine single-handedly. All of a sudden he feels dizzy from using so much of his mana and faints, but Charmy catches him. In the North District, Leopold grabs Raids and asks him where he sent his brother Fuegoleon. Noelle says that the mage that sent Fuegoleon away must be here. They begin to look for him and Asta finds him hiding among the corpses. The mage congratulates Asta on finding him, but tells Asta that everything is over. Asta is confused and asks him, "What is over?" The mage then brings back Fuegoleon, but he is missing an arm. Leopold is shocked as memories of his brother flash before his eyes. Noelle notices that his grimoire is still intact with him, which means he is still alive. But Leopold is frozen while Noelle tries to stop the bleeding. Raids blasts Leopold away and tries to escape, but Asta charges at him. Noelle yells at Asta to stop, as his wounds from before are still bleeding and he will die. The mystery mage then summons a portal underneath Raids, but Asta throws his sword to cut off the magic, stopping Raids from escaping. Asta punches him, and Raids asks Valtos the mage to help him. Valtos says if he could, he would, and thinks to himself that Asta's anti-magic is more troublesome than he thought. Suddenly magic sweeps the area, and 5 new mages appear out of nowhere surrounding the group. Raids tells Asta the tables have turned. The curse magic from earlier is making Asta bleed out, hindering his ability to fight. Asta decides to cut himself with his swords to stop the curse from making him bleed, and he is now able to resume fighting. Raids can't believe what Asta just did, and Asta tells them that he has faced adversity his whole life, and no matter how many people come at him, he will stop them. The mages surround the group and blast magic toward them. Asta manages to block all the attacks of mages, and Leopold joins the fight and helps Asta against the mages. The mages are stunned and think about how beasts are more formidable when they are wounded. They recognize that Asta and Leopold are dangerous. As all the mages are about to attack them, Noelle summons a protective barrier around the two of them to prevent the boys from the incoming spells. One of the mages realizes that she is part of the formidable Silver family and says that he will use his grimoire since he doesn't want to be rude. The mage then uses tree magic to absorb Noelle's barrier. Asta and Leopold are pierced by the mage's tornado needles and collapse, but the magic knights return before he is able to finish off the boys. Noelle tells Mimosa to heal Fuegoleon, and Valtos warns the mages that they should return, as they are outnumbered. The captain of the Magic Knights attacks the enemy mages, but a mage named Sally deflects his attacks by summoning her stick salamander. Sally captures Asta in her gel magic, and as they are retreating, they say that they are the Eye of the Midnight Sun and destroy the Clover Kingdom very soon. They disappear and Noelle wants to go after them, but Nozel stops her and says that they should strengthen their capital's defenses first before going after them. Solid begins to mock the injured captain of the Crimson Lions, saying he is an embarrassment. But Nozel, the captain of the Silver Eagles, says that none of them were present at the fight, so they are the ones who should be embarrassed. Elsewhere, at the hideout of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, Asta wakes up and Sally is curious about his use of anti-magic and wants to study him. He thinks to himself that this is a super bad situation. As they enter the hideout, a voice greets them. The Wizard King Julius Novachrono has been waiting for them all this time. He quickly kills 2 of the mages and offers the other mages a chance to surrender, but they decline and attack him. Julius easily avoids their attacks and uses his time magic to restrain the mages and free Asta. He tells Asta to watch him closely because he is what Asta needs to surpass to become the Wizard King. He wants Asta to learn from him. Asta vows that if he wants to become the Wizard King, he needs to surpass Julius. Julius then questions the mages about the stone slab with jewels embedded in it. He has never seen anything like it. Julius says that they cannot answer under his spell, but he will ask them back in the Clover Kingdom. Suddenly, he senses that something is coming, and another mage appears out of the white light. The light overwhelms them and then vanishes. Asta finds that all the mages have disappeared. Julius acknowledges that he got them and wonders if that was the enemy's boss. But luckily, he was able to keep one of the mages for questioning. A communication spell activates and Marx Françoise, the Wizard King's assistant, is finally able to contact Julius and tells him to come quickly to the medical ward. Outside the medical ward, The Magic Knights are discussing the situation while Fuegoleon and Leopold are being healed inside. They have taken measures to strengthen the magical barrier and have repaired their communication spells. A noble from the Golden Dawn sarcastically says that they are also looking for the lively Black Bull's boy, meaning Asta. Klaus reassures Noelle and Mimosa that Asta would not be killed that easily, though he is worried himself, and says he is going to punch Asta when he gets back. Suddenly, Julius appears with Asta and the captured mage. Noelle and Mimosa welcome Asta back while Klaus runs them over and embraces Asta, saying he was so worried about him. Mimosa then pushes Klaus and Noelle out of the way to embrace Asta, and Noelle is jealous. The Magic Knights gather in a group and discuss the situation. Charlotte tells Julius that the pendant that Fuegoleon was wearing is missing. She wonders who the terrorists were, and Julius says they are an organization that wants to destroy the Clover Kingdom. Julius also wonders if Fuegoleon's pendant is a jewel for the stone slab he saw in the lair of the Eye of the Midnight Sun. He begins to give a speech on how the Magic Knights must be unified when suddenly Nozzle, the captain of the Silver Eagles, walks away. Asta thinks to himself that Nozzle needs to get the hint about solidarity. But Julius says to him that he wonders if the enemy has awakened not a sleeping lion but a sleeping hawk, meaning Nozzle. Nozzle swears to himself that he will get revenge for Fuegoleon if it's the last thing he does. The Magic Knights declare that they need to become stronger, and Leopold barges out the door and declares that he will become the strongest. He follows in his brother's footsteps and marks his forehead with a burn, symbolizing that he is ready to conquer himself and his goal of becoming the Wizard King. Asta says he doesn't really get it, but that he is worthy of being his rival. Asta then asks him who he is again, and Leopold freaks out that he still doesn't know. A few days pass and Julius thinks that there is a traitor amongst the Magic Knights. He tries to interrogate his captives, Catherine and the spare mage, but they have a protective spell over their minds, meaning they cannot reveal anything. The Wizard King believes that their leader was the one who defeated Fuegoleon. Meanwhile, in a cavern, Raids vows to create a huge army of the undead to destroy Asta. Sally tells him that he cannot kill Asta because she wants to run tests on him while he is alive. Therefore, Raids cannot kill him. Above them, Valtos and the leader of the Eye of the Midnight Sun discuss the situation. The leader realizes he was not able to escape from Julius's magic, and his arm has aged drastically. He acknowledges that the Wizard King is more powerful than he expected, and promises to defeat Julius to make his own country that will be only theirs. Back at the capital, the little girl that Asta saved from Raids gives them cupcakes. Out of nowhere, Charmy grabs the basket and begins eating their treats, but Asta and Noelle are confused as to why she is even here. She shows them how she was able to enter the castle, and she transforms into a mini cloud and enters Asta's hood. They are in awe and wonder if Charmy is actually an amazing mage. Yuno, Klaus and Mimosa greet them from across the river, and Asta tells him to not get a big head just because he took one of them down. Yuno casts a powerful hawk-shaped spell at him, but Asta cuts through it with his anti-magic sword. After he cuts it, the words "See you, Shrimpstar" appear, Yuno's way of saying goodbye to his rival. Everyone is shocked that he attacked Asta with such a powerful spell, and Yuno wonders if that was too much. Asta tells Yuno to come down and fight with him, but Yuno walks away. Klaus notices that Yuno's magic has gotten much stronger than the last time. Asta acknowledges his newfound strength and says he will just have to get stronger in order to keep up, and Noelle smiles at his determination. Back at the base of the Black Bulls, Magnuswing tells Asta that he got a star for his mission. Asta tells him that the Wizard King made him into a third-class junior Magic Knight, and Charmy has been made into first-class junior Magic Knight. The Black Bulls don't understand what that means, so Captain Yami explains that there are ranks to the Magic Knights, and Asta and Charmy are now above the rest of them. The Black Bulls are shocked, and Charmy tells them to get on their knees and praise her. Asta is still worried about Fuegoleon, but Yami tells him to not worry about him and says that the hot-blooded king of seriousness is not going to die that easily. Asta is inspired and says that he is going to train even harder, but Yami tells him he needs to take a break as he was about to die in his previous fight. Suddenly, Finral enters and asks Asta if he wants to go to a mixer. Captain Yami tells him to get to work or he'll kill him. And that brings us to the end of Black Clover's battle of the Royal Capital Arc. If you want to find out what happens next, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Panorama Anime, and comment for the Eye of the Midnight Sun arc.